Hello everyone, this is the Horror Connoisseur. Welcome to my review of Expedition Zero, a stream of conscience critiquing a survival horror game that has you trapped in a cold, hostile zone filled with ruthless creatures. Your goals are simple: uncover the dreadful mystery of this outbreak and get out with your life. Aren't we all? Full disclosure, I didn't complete this game. Approximately 75% of it has been completed, and I'll explain later. In the meantime, let's begin with its satisfying qualities. Sound design is quite good, setting the mood and tone of the environment, which I may say looks remarkable. Great visuals accompanied by fantastic lighting and abnormal amount of detail. The story isn't spectacular by any means. I'm sure most of you find individuals could mouth the events before they play out. Not helping matters, there aren't any memorable characters besides the ones contained in the confine of Lost Note. They are a decent read if you happen to stumble upon one. Besides looking for the game's lore, you'll be hunting down resources and crafting materials. At first, crafting materials were merely allowed to exist in this untreasured world, yet their purpose was lacking. Within a mere hour, you could craft all your necessities. Therefore, their purpose was served and no need for further attention. However, with the most recent patch, gathering materials have become more essential. Before, you had the ability to save at any designated save location, which destroying the already little amount of terror. Knowing the consequences would be minute with your constant saving. Now you must gather enough materials to secure the designated zone before saving, giving the materials much needed life. Now, what can I say about the gameplay? Except for it's serviceable. You manage your resources and materials to ensure you aren't ensnared by a deplorable situation. Combat is what you expect from a survival horror game, slow and a little bit clunky to conjure a small amount of terror. Serviceable indeed. Yet, yanked away from its adequate tower by the game's unfortunate blemishes. The enemies aren't engaging in the slightest and don't generate a sliver amount of horror. It's mostly consisted of a single zombie man with its infinite brothers. They stumble over to you and make an effort to devour you. It's embarrassing, honestly. Putting them down is a mercy. There is an enemy that poses a legitimate threat. It's these fuckers. Quick attacking, medium damage, and a blur to the human eyes. These bastards generate an acceptable amount of horror, but even that doesn't last until the summers. Due to their quick nature, they are difficult and a bit tedious to kill. So I found it to be the more sensible solution to run away bravely. No sense in killing something in exchange for less resources in life for no payoff. Also, there could be a good chance the game amnesias and forgets you have bullets to reload with. Multiple times my rifle refused to reload for unknown reasons, so I must quickly swap to a different item, then swap back to it to make it remember. Now, I did read somewhere there is a third enemy and a recently added fourth one. However, I couldn't provide the strength to go further and document them, because I found Expedition Zero leaning on the boring side. Majority of the gameplay is trekking across miles of cold, desolate lands with a few buildings to explore. And in between these long journeys, you manage your endurance and temperature levels. If your temperature drops below freezing point, then warmth is your top priority, unless you are ready to embrace the coldness of death. Lowering the temperature on its frostbites, your character has the extraordinary ability of running out of breath every 10 centimeters. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, yet it's not too far. Stopping every so often to reheat yourself from death's cold clutches or being out of lungs can greatly stall the pacing. You mostly explore a sizable forest map with additional side areas to explore. Nevertheless, the side areas don't provide a convincing argument for my attention. From what I gathered, they only serve to give more materials, resources, lore, and maybe a new item. Emphasis on maybe. Again, I only played 75% of this and did very little exploration on them, because boredom had consumed me by then. fun was slowly being drained from Expedition Zero's equation. It didn't start off to be bothersome, but over time it wore me down. Admittedly, I was still quite curious about the endgame, so I watched a YouTube video. I know, it's an unforgivable sin and I'll take it to the grave since much wasn't missed. The ending, though, did have a little neat aspect. Even still, not enough to convince me. Expedition Zero does brim with potential. Having great atmospheres, sound design, and the overall game mechanics are serviceable. However, the troublesome wounds do prevent it reaching its full potential. Then again, it could just be me. There are those that thoroughly enjoy this game and don't contain the same criticism. So my recommendation, approach this game with caution. You may end up enjoying it or be filled with disdain. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please do consider liking it and subscribing to the channel for future growth. This is the Horror Connoisseur, signing off.